give Sam Darnold Most Improved Player. I don't see any person who's even remotely close to going from what he was last year to this year.
And
Absolutely.
how did he even Carolina and San Francisco? Do you remember how he played there? If he got to play?
So yes, so Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold was originally again the second pick. He was originally again the second pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
He was the second pick in that draft. Baker Mayfield went first. And so, from there he went to the Jets. He struggled, and they traded him. They traded him to Carolina. Ironically, at the same time that Cleveland traded Baker Mayfield over there as well. And so, that's how he ended up. With the Jets, he was drafted there, and then that's where he ended up in Carolina. But again, that just shows you the power and ability to bring good, competent coaches into the had to have those in the organization, because very similarly, Baker Mayfield was in Cleveland with Coach Kevin Stefanski, and he did pretty good. That was a 1-win team. He made that team relevant. Went to the playoffs, won a playoff game, and then they traded him because they thought that they were getting upgraded to Deshaun Watson. How's that turning out, by the way?
Not good at all.
Not good. Baker Mayfield then went to Carolina, didn't do well. Nobody does well there. Bryce didn't do well. Then he gets with Sean with Sean McVay for a month, and now look at him in Tampa Bay. Looks like a completely different man. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold goes to San Francisco, swallows his ego, number 2 pick in the draft, just listens, and goes from there and goes to Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell, another guy from that Shanahan coaching tree, and took the things that he felt like Sam Darnold could do really well, because again, he was good enough to be number 2 pick in the draft, and we could never ever not say enough about having good, high quality coaches who are able to develop these quarterbacks, because I feel like we would have been a couple years away from saying that Sam Darnold shouldn't even be an NFL quarterback, and now he's getting ready to get 3-4 years, $200 million, all thanks to the Minnesota Vikings organization putting him in position where he's able to utilize his skill set in order to put that team in a position to win football games.
Right. That's a great thing. Let's get into Brian Flores. Like you say, he's doing an amazing job with the defense. What's Brian Flores' next opportunity after the Vikings defense? Does he stay with Minnesota, continue to help that defense, depending on how far they go in the playoffs? Could you possibly see Brian Flores accepting, coming over and coaching the Chicago Bears? What do you think Brian Flores will do next season?
I think that Brian Flores not only, I think he'll definitely be interviewed in the offseason for head coaching opportunities, but Brian Flores should absolutely get another opportunity to be a head coach in the National Football League. He has taken this Minnesota defense and made them look like a top 5 defense this entire season. I know a lot of the questions that's going to go on with Brian Flores when it comes to head coaching opportunities is that unfortunately he didn't make a lot of friends once his last year in Miami. They talk about the mishandling of how he handled Tua, and Tua mentioned that that Coach Brian Flores, he felt like Coach Brian Flores tried to break him. And so Brian Flores, he's an old school coach. He comes from that Bill Belichick coaching tree, was linebackers coach when he was with the New England with the New England Patriots. But what a lot of people don't remember is that when Brian Flores took over that Miami Dolphins team, the Miami Dolphins were a laughing stock. They won one game.
Right.
They won one game. They had a saying in Miami. They called it tanking for Tua. Brian Flores said we should. He got in issues with ownership because he wanted Stephen Ross and those guys. He wanted them to draft Justin Herbert, and they went with Tua instead of Justin Herbert. And I don't think anybody would disagree, even though Flores is even though his handling of Tua, which he said himself, could have been better. Like, he was right. He was right. Justin Herbert is a much better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. So I feel like more than anything, in this day and age, you got to be able to relate to your players. I feel like he went to Pittsburgh, went under Mike Tomlin, and then he went to he went to Minnesota, and is now under Kevin O'Connell, who is one of the most likable people when it comes to head coaches. Players guy knows how to connect with the players. I feel like Brian Flores has learned from both of those guys, and I do feel like he should be considered for another head coaching opportunity. I would love to see him coach the Chicago Bears. It would be a dream to see Brian Flores coach the Chicago Bears. I think, unfortunately, the Chicago Bears were so bad offensively this year that I think they're just going to highlight an offensive guy, and so I feel like because of that, they probably will not go with head coach Brian Flores. But if you're looking at the New York Football Giants, if you're the New Orleans Saints, if you're the Vegas Raiders, even though there have been some grumblings in that organization that they're looking at head coach Mike Vrabel, but they're also looking at Flores for that position as well, since he has ties back with New England Hall of Fame legendary quarterback Tom Brady, being very much interested in head coach Brian Flores. You look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. You look at Brian Flores potentially if Gerard Mayo is fired. You look at Brian Flores going back to New England and being their head coach. The New York Jets they're going to have a coaching vacancy as well. So you got about 6 or 7 jobs for teams that are going to need coaches, and you have a coach who did a really good job in Miami. Unfortunately, again, it's going to be, does he connect with the players? But because from a standpoint of coaching, he's not going to cheat you on effort. You're going to have a very good defense, and he gets the best out of his players. And so I feel like the head coach from the University of the head coach from the University of Texas, I'm drawing a blank on his
Sarkanian. Isn't his name Sarkanian? Sark? Is it something like that?
Thank you. Yeah, Sark. Yeah, Steve Sarkisian.
Sarkisian.
Had issues with alcohol, and he got a when he was fired, and he was given another opportunity. You have to give Coach Flores another opportunity to coach, to be able to coach that team.
Well, it's harder for coaches of color to get a second opportunity. It's really lucky that he's still in the league after the first situation. And with that being said, I didn't really know about him not wanting to draft Tua and wanting to draft Herbert, but the situation I did know about is Tua felt like that he was pushing him out the way because he felt like Flores wanted to sign Deshaun Watson. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's a great point too. That's a great point.
So do you think he was wrong for wanting to sign Deshaun Watson and not keep Tua in his tutelage?
Yeah, I think so. You gotta, my main thing with Coach Brian Flores is you just gotta, you have to give your players who are on your current roster confidence. So I think that he just has to do a better job with that.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's very true. It's about motivating your players, even though these are grown men. You still need to handle them with certain type of care. You know what I'm saying? These are grown men and millionaires, but you still need to handle them with certain type of care. You can't just push people out the door. As we see, it's not the same as it used to be, where you could just push people out the door and say, "I don't care about you," not this and that. You have to handle even these grown men, millionaires, with a certain type of care.